Reign of Superman, Part 17. This is Superman, issue 81. And guys, this book rocks. I love that even though Superman is essentially back in his own title, we open up on everyone still not sure who this cat is. Still says, freeze, Mr. Metropolis is ours. We see Lois shocked and confused. We see Connor going, the man ain't yanking you, pal. You want trouble? We'll give it to you. Big time. And you're thinking, who the hell are they talking about? Flip the page to this gorgeous piece of artwork. And as we saw, the last issue was called The Return. This is called Resurrections. Now, before we get into the rest of this book, let's talk about who made Resurrections. This is Dan Jurgens doing the story and the art, Brett Breeding doing the finished art, John Costanza was the letterer, and Glenn Whitmore was the colorist. I just love how Superman stands here, calm, not ready to attack. He just goes, don't let the outfit fool you. I'm Superman. And I'm back. And Connor says, for all we know, you still got that mind to attack the city. And then Lex says, watch him closely. There's no telling what this man has up his sleeves. And again, I just love how Clark kind of has that look of hurt and understanding. Some homecoming. I realize I've been away a while, but I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to be public enemy number one when I returned. You interviewed me several times, Ms. Lane. Surely you recognize me. And he's torn because right in the middle of all these people, he can't reveal his identity. So he has to hope that Lois realizes it's him. He looks and sounds so much like Clark, but some of the others were convincing too. I'm sorry, but you're not the first guy to hit Metropolis claiming to be Superman this year. Apparently not. You must be two of the four that I've heard about. I like how Still just kind of steps in the protector and he goes, I said, watch it, man. And Clark, again, stand up for himself, but not harming. Hey, you're digging in pretty hard. I said to leave the lady alone. And if this simple squeeze can hurt you, then there's no way you're really Superman. I was taken about as far down as anyone can go. I'm not totally recovered yet. That's why I needed that Kryptonian war suit to get here. So you realize even though he's back and he's making a stand, he's not full powered yet. So it's just a great way to show his vulnerability. And he finally says, Ms. Lane, can I have a few moments of your time, please? She goes, unless you have something convincing, I really don't see the need to pursue this further. He goes, again, without giving away that he's Clark, he looks at Lois and he goes, how about To Kill a Mockingbird? And you see her eyes, that shock of realization. She goes, Clark's all-time favorite movie. Could it be? And before we even get more, you're like, damn, I want to know what's going on. We jump to Engine City. And we see that Mongol's getting a little too big for his britches. I'll reduce that infernal city to ash just as I crushed Coast City. Good. We are close to the realization of my dream. A planet we can blast out of the sun's orbit to function as a space-going vessel. Countless planets shall cower before my military might once again. We almost gave away his real name. We're not there yet. I savor the irony of it all. I'll turn the dead Kryptonians' home planet into the mightiest weapon the galaxies have ever known. Cower before you, Mongol. And right here, this sort of reminds me of that Superman annual, I think it was issue 10, where Mongol invades the Fortress of Solitude and puts that, I can't remember what that alien thing was, but it puts Superman in a trance. But he breaks from it and shoots him with his eye lasers. I just kind of like how there's a little bit of an homage here with the cyborg version. But he goes, if anyone cowers before anyone, it will be me. Remember our deal. You satisfy your bloodlust by being one of my soldiers. And I get my revenge against Earth and Superman. So you can see that Cyborg is not to be trifled with. Move. Indeed, we go. We move. And as he storms away, we have a weird conversation between these two alien species. And he says he's found out who the cyborg Superman was scrubbing the databanks. We come to find out that the cyborg Superman was indeed human at one time in history. and who he is, he had actually gone toe to toe with Superman and blamed him for his situation with his life, his wife, his friends, and his basic banishment from the world. Now, I don't want to give too much away about who the actual cyborg Superman is. I want you guys to read this series and go through this. It's quite interesting, especially how he makes the deal with Mongol after Mongol kind of picks this backwater planet to rule after the fall of Warworld. And we understand how the cyborg is able to take over different life. And before we get more of that, like, damn, I want to know more, we cut back to Superman and Lois. Good. There's no one here. We can talk privately. I can't believe I'm even listening to you. After all the others, I just don't know who to believe. Did the others remind you of the time I gave you Ma's engagement ring? No, please don't. Did they tell you about the time I admitted being Clark? Or the time we flew to the mountains to talk? Or about the rainy night in July when we first... No. You died. I held you in my arms when it happened. People, even Superman can't come back from the dead. I'm so confused. You know certain things, but so did the others. How am I supposed to be sure? And what I love is how Dan Jurgens calls back to Superman 45. He takes her in his arms and he says, just remember, no matter what happens, I'll always love you. And before she can really believe him, the Men of Steel are off to take on the cyborg Superman and Mongol. Is this a great issue for realizations of how this all came to be and how Superman came back from the dead? I highly recommend it, guys. It just adds and adds to what the reign of Superman was about. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to get your comics and action figures, and either get all the singles or the collected trades or the omnibuses, however you want to read this series. If you've enjoyed this review, I really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little super bell next to subscribe, that way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down below as well. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.